Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Josh Kimmel, Dave Campbell, and Justin Bowerly.
Welcome to Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast, where you see half my green screen and half the wall. No big deal. We are here today to break down waivers for your week coming up. We have a bunch of injuries, like 10,000 injuries, so this might be a long one, but we're going to keep it kind of short for you. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's bring in Justin Bowerly, because we have, like I said, the cornucopia of injuries this NFL season has been imaginable. It's been depressing. And we're here to break it all down for you. Justin, are you on the IR?
Dude, if you drafted a good fantasy team this year, how's your 0-2 start doing? Because everybody on your team is on IR.
I don't want to be the one to say it, but I've been saying it since week one. If you're bad at fantasy football, this is your year, baby. This is your year. Because you drafted all the bums that aren't getting hurt. So, no, let's be honest with you. If you did prepare, if you drafted CMC and you prepared, you're fine. If you drafted all these other guys and you prepared, like if you drafted Russell Wilson and you handcuffed him with Fields, you're fine. So I guess I don't know. I'm trying to make
no. I made that look because I did that a lot this offseason. I handcuffed Russell Wilson with Justin Fields. I'm sorry, I handcuffed Justin Fields with Russell Wilson because I knew Justin Fields was gonna be the starter. Like he was announced today, going to be the starter in week 3 for 3 consecutive weeks. They're 2-0. Why get off that train? I mean, people that listen to this show know that Justin Fields is going to start this season.
It is what it is. Before we get into the meat and the potatoes of the episode, we're going to let you know, make sure to follow us on OUSFF Pod on YouTube. We are growing daily. I am checking the number, 225 subs. That's phenomenal. Couldn't believe it. Actually, we're going up and up each day. So if you're new to the show, please hit that subscribe button. We're here every single Tuesday at noon. Today a little bit later, but normally noon. Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. and then again Friday for your whole weekend preview at noon as well. So we're here 3 times a week to help you. You can also reach us on our Twitter DMs at Justin Bowerly, at OUSFF Pod if you want to reach the show directly. Of course, at Josh Kimmel OUS. And please join our Discord. We are growing that slowly but surely. We want to get that community going. We have the Super League going on right now. That's awesome. My team sucks, but that's awesome. Hope your team's doing well out there. There's 80-something of you in that league. 80?
84.
84 in that league, and I'm probably 84th. So it is what it is at this point.
I didn't run the script this morning to get the overall standing, so it reminded me I needed to do that. So guess who's about to do that?
Most likely you. And man, do I look like I got a fat face today? Let me tell you something. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I gained 12 pounds in Las Vegas. I'm not even kidding. That's not even a joke.
Though, right? Muscle weighs more?
Yeah, donuts. I spent $37 on donuts.
Josh, you are 65th in Super League right now.
I'm doing bad. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm doing bad.
I'm 72, so it's great. I'm
doing bad in every redraft league. All my players are getting hurt. All my players aren't playing. In my main league, my home league, I've left an open slot 2 weeks in a row because I don't have enough players to play. I just don't. I can't field a full roster. So hopefully we get some players coming back, and hopefully you get some players coming back.
Can I just announce the top 10?
Currently? Oh, sure. Go ahead.
So BM Calpine 12, he's currently in first. He's in Captain Planet. Scappy 625, he finished in third last year. He is currently in second. Dre Jalen X in third. Nomad 1600, that's Rick, who friend of ours. He is in fourth. Michael Rippey in the Animaniacs fifth. Chris Girardi is in sixth.
Hey,
FF Chalupa Batman. Zach, we know Zach. He's
friend
in
of the
seventh.
show.
Yep, friend of the show. Sweating Glitter 247. I can't read. Chow Bello, I think is her. She's in eighth. 5-yard rush Murph. They do another charity league in I think Britain, the UK. They're in ninth, and then Jeff Bell is in 10th from Football Guys.
There we go. Hopefully I aspire to be up there in that ranking.
Jacob's in 11th for what it's worth.
Good job, Jacob. Good job. Anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show. We have injuries to break down. So, Justin, I'm going to throw it over to you.
All right, let's talk about the important ones right now. Cooper Kupp, seen in a walking boot, he is expected to miss several weeks at this point. If you paid attention last week, Puka Nacua is also on IR and will miss at least 4 weeks. They're expecting 4 to 6 weeks, probably from both of them. So if you have either of those guys, be sure to continue watching this show because we will have players to replace them with. Justin Jefferson, not expected to miss any games after he had that quad injury late in the game. He had a big day on Sunday. So
he had one catch
for 97 yards and a touchdown. That's all.
I played against the Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson stack in my main league, and
that sucks.
It sucked.
That sucks.
That throw actually, I'm sorry to interrupt. That throw actually lost me the week. So
that sucks.
Yeah. Either way, continue.
Amon-Ra St. Brown determined to have contusion and cramping. He avoided a serious injury, so that's something to monitor this week going into Sunday. We saw that from A.J. Brown, and he was announced on Sunday before the 1 o'clock games, by the way, that he was going to miss Monday Night Football. So thank you, Eagles, for actually announcing an injury before the 1 o'clock game so we could all take A.J. Brown out of our lineup.
And I still had a manager that in the league I commissioned message me on Sunday night, "Hey, bro, I got A.J. Brown in my lineup, and I don't have anyone else to put in. I can't do." They announced it before.
They announced it at like 11 o'clock on Sunday. So
and guess what? Our Twitter account announced it as well. So you should be following us, dude. If you're a friend of the show and you are in my league, you should actually be watching to make sure to know who I like, to take advantage of me. What are you doing? Anyway, continue.
Tyjae Spears been a non-factor. He's going to continue being a non-factor, but he's expected to be fine. He has an ankle injury, by the way. Rashad White has a groin injury, avoids a major injury, something to monitor throughout the week. He's not expected to miss any time, but groin injuries suck. I'm not going to lie. Taysom Hill.
You need to chill with that Tyjae Spears slander. I don't know why he's red over here, by the way, but we'll talk about that later.
Because he is. He avoids a serious injury with this chest injury, but there's a million tight ends. That's the big ones. Isaiah Pacheco hit IR, expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Or I'm sorry, 6 to 8 weeks, according to Jeremy Fowler. That's huge. He fractured his fibula. That's gonna suck. We'll talk about who to replace him with. T. Higgins is progressing in the right direction with his hamstring issue. Hopefully he does get onto the field in week 3. The Bengals need him. Deebo Samuel has a calf injury, set to miss a couple of weeks. That's another big one that was announced last night. That's another 49er with a calf injury. It's another starter. A.J. Brown, hamstring, expected to miss a couple of weeks. Joe Mixon, ankle, avoids long-term injury off that hip drop tackle on Sunday night. We'll see what happens there. But Dameon Pierce is his backup, who also has a hamstring issue and is making fast progress to return this week. And then Roman Wilson, he's been out for a couple weeks. It seems like Roman Wilson, he has an ankle injury and is expected to work more this week.
Cool. Remember when I told you guys, and I get scoffed at every single offseason, by every guest, by you, by Josh Wingate in the chat, by my peers. I tell you guys, the draft is not that important. And I tell you this because of this. This is where you win your leagues. This is where you stay afloat. This is where you make your moves and ascend the standings. Yes, your draft didn't go as well. Yes, all of your players are injured. I understand that. That's why the draft is so minimal to your whole season. It's all about ad drops, trades, waivers, start sits. This is why we're here every single Tuesday. Because guess what? You can draft the most perfect team in the world. Now, how do you adapt when all this happens? So we're here to talk about that right now. Let's go to the ad drops. Priority waivers. Man, we got some a lot of quarterbacks on this list in the green. Like a lot. Like a lot of must-adds.
3.
I mean, how many super flex leagues do you think we got?
I'm not even thinking about super flex. I'm thinking about quarterbacks that have just been trash the first couple of weeks, and you might need to replace them.
You know, You're right. And before I go into this huge monologue, because I'm not going to, I promise. Cue the monologue now. Just because you drafted Justin Herbert high or any of these players that are maybe underwhelming you, it's okay to bench them. This doesn't even just appeal to the quarterback position. I am going to bench Travis Kelce moving forward until I see something different. That's not a hot take. That's not something groundbreaking. It's just he's not producing. He's not involved in the offense. So don't hold on to these guys you drafted highly. The draft is over. It's now we're going into week 3. It's time to actually play fantasy football and stop relying on who you drafted. Who cares where you drafted these players? It's time to adapt. So moving forward, Derek Carr is our number one guy that you need to add because he is basically on fire. And he's only rostered in 12%. I don't trust him. You seem to trust him. Tell me why I should add Derek Carr instead of someone like a Justin Herbert or someone else.
That offense is productive. They've scored 16 times on 16 possessions in the first 2 weeks. They do not punt the ball. Derek Carr has been lighting it up. I don't necessarily think I trust him long term, but fantasy is about playing the hot hand, and Derek Carr has scored over 21 points both weeks so far, and now he's going into Philadelphia, who just lost the game to Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins had a big week because of a second half. Derek Carr is doing well without even using Chris Olave. Imagine what happens when Chris Olave actually gets used in that offense. Alvin Kamara is doing everything. Rashid Shahed is showing that he is a top 10 wide receiver in this league right now, and they can use whatever tight end they feel like. Derek Carr should be rostered in more than 12% of the leagues.
Where did Derek Carr go to college?
Fresno State.
If Fresno State punt, baby. This Fresno State punt, baby. We don't punt, baby. We don't punt. Inside joke. Nobody else gets that.
I knew that was going to happen.
But apparently they punted last week, according to Josh Wingate, one time. But yeah, Derek Carr's been on fire. I'm going to ride the hot hand until it falls off. Am I going to start him over guys like Brock Purdy or Baker Mayfield or other guys I have in my top 10 at this moment? Probably not, just because I want to hold off. I need to see more. But I can understand if you're struggling with your quarterbacks that you have now.
If you have a Caleb Williams that you drafted to be your starter, a Matt Stafford, Justin Herbert, even Jared Goff is QB 25 right now. These guys are people that you drafted to be your starting quarterback, and they are not even performing at a super flex position.
It's tough. It's tough in the streets. Geno Smith is the next guy we're going to talk about, rostered in 24% of leagues. He's leading Seattle, throwing it to listen, he's throwing it to DK Metcalf. JSN had a huge week. The guy is spreading the ball around. You can't hate on him that much. Another guy I would be comfortable adding streaming if you do roster one of those Justin Herberts, like we mentioned before, or a Caleb Williams, who's pretty much unplayable at this point. How confident are you on Geno Smith, and how much fab are you spending on any of these quarterbacks?
These guys are not breaking my budget. There's enough of them out there right now that you could put a couple bucks on each of, you could put some money on each of them, but I'm not going to spend $75 I'm not going to spend 75% of my budget on one of these quarterbacks because we don't know when that fall off is going to be. We just expect there to be some kind of fall off, but again, you play the hot hand in fantasy football, so play them while they're productive, aka J.K. Dobbins right now, Isaiah Likely week 1. You got to play those guys when they're hot and then instead of when they're cold. So again, don't bust your budget off of these guys, but these guys are people that you should be adding to your roster to replace some of the guys that are not doing well right now.
Yeah, he's the quarterback 7 right now at the moment. If that's correct, it's unbelievable. Actually, Geno Smith is drinking that lucky juice again from Harry Potter. Good for him, man. I really like to see it going on. The next guy on our list is someone who just obtained this juice, just obtained this lucky juice, Sam Darnold for the Minnesota Vikings. He's unbelievable right now. I'm curious to see how it's going to be the rest of the season because like our video editor said, Derek said, our contributor, our friend, he started 3-0 with Carolina before, correct? He's been here before. And then the downfall happened. Is Sam Darnold going to stay hot for your fantasy team moving forward?
Sam Darnold's never had a Justin Jefferson. Eventually, he's going to get a TJ Hawkinson. Eventually, Jordan Addison might actually play a game of football. Things are only looking up for Sam Darnold moving on into the season. If you've been listening to the show since April, you would have known Sam Darnold was going to be the starter for no matter what, whether JJ McCarthy was there, according to Dave. So,
but we didn't think he was going to be good. Come on.
We didn't think he was going to be this good. You're right. But again, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, you have all these guys that are surrounding him to make him good. We didn't expect Brock Purdy to be fantasy relevant.
Hawk's not even there yet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the crazy thing.
He's not even, they don't even have one of their best options in the receiving game. Sam Darnold finished QB4 last week. He had 20.9. He's only rostered in 8% of the leagues, and he has an early bye week. That's great. These are all things that make me say, yes, I want that more.
And again, this is more for the people who drafted the Jared Goffs of the world or Justin Herberts. I know I mentioned that name multiple times, and there's a reason for it. Do not replace these guys with your top end Josh Allen just because Josh Allen had a down week. Josh Allen will bounce back. We're not telling you to add Sam Darnold to replace that. We're telling you to add him to replace your Caleb Williams and guys who are very, very underproducing at this moment. And Trevor Lawrence for sure. Oh my goodness. Why? I'm not going to get into it, but if he had a little bit of darker skin tone, he'd be getting trash in the media right now. He is so bad at football. Can we just admit that? Can we admit that, people? He's awful. Or at least he's awful this season so far, and last year and the year before. Sam Darnold, go pick him up if you need a quarterback to stream this week. Who are they playing? Who's Minnesota playing? I'm probably going to get called. Oh, you don't even know the schedule.
I know. We get this all the time. It's like, oh, you guys should know your stuff more. They're playing Houston.
I don't mind that matchup. I don't mind that matchup at all. Gardner Minshew is a good in the chat. We might get to him later. We might not. I don't know. Some people might be a Minshew hater on the show. I'm not the one who makes the sheets. Jordan Mason is another priority ad. If you don't roster him already, he's only rostered in 52% of leagues. If you don't believe in him because he is very good at football. He's running back 11 right now, averaging, I think, 7 points last week, 17.4 points last week. Doesn't matter the matchup. He's going to get the ball. And with Debo out, with CMC out, with Kittle probably banged up a little bit, he's going to get a more workload. I like Jordan Mason. He's an instant start in your running back 1 or 2 position. No question about it. What are we even thinking about here?
Yeah, we said last week that he should be added. He was rostered in 38% of leagues last week. He's rostered in 52% of leagues this week. What are we doing? Like, who's not rostering Jordan Mason at this time?
Me in my main league where I have CMC because I forgot to draft him.
I don't think there's a single league where Jordan Mason is available that I'm in.
Yep. No, he's not available in any of my leagues, but what I'm saying is I don't roster him because I didn't draft him, unfortunately. But rushing yard, he was drafted in all my leagues. Rushing yards, 247, that's second in the league. Not getting as much receiving yards as you want, like a CMC would be. He only has 2 catches. That's fine. He doesn't need the catches. He also has 2 total touchdowns, averaging 19.8 fantasy points per game. What else you want from your last round pickup that you drafted? Jordan Mason is a stud. Start him until CMC comes back. I don't see this guy slowing down anytime soon.
They might even run 2 running backs when CMC comes back.
Don't say that. Please don't say that. That would hurt my feelings. Rashid Shahed. I'm not buying into this. Sell him for me. I'm not going to do it. I can't. I'm not going to buy into Rashid Shahed. I refuse. Okay. I'm not. Go ahead.
It's a bold pick.
You know what? I will. I will say this.
We don't buy deep threats that are effective and catch all the balls. Like
I just don't know what to do because Chris Olave is such a better player, and I just don't understand why Derek Carr loves Rashid Shahed so much. It hurts my feelings, to be completely honest with you. He's he only has 2 deep targets, by the way, so it's not like a deep target threat. He only has 2. He only has 7 catches. He only has 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like
that's a really great efficiency.
That's a Justin Jefferson game. Like that's a full Justin Jefferson game in 2 weeks.
That's 24 yards per catch. Like, this is amazing.
It's going to keep up. I'm for sure of it. I'm for sure Rashid Shahed is going to be the number 1 guy going forward, league winner. No, in all seriousness, he's worth a look to me. He is almost must an add because he is getting involved so much, and he does love him. Target share of 23%. That's kind of what we want in our receivers, especially he's going to be your wide receiver 3 on your teams, thinking about it, because you've already drafted the Amon-Ra St. Browns and the other guys that you drafted. So he is a great addition to be your wide receiver 3 on your fantasy team. I get it. It's just I can't trust it. He's only ran 18 routes. Is that true? That's true, Player Profiler? I'm looking at it right now. 18 routes? Or is this only from week 1? It may not have updated yet. But geez, if that's true,
that can't be true.
That can't be true. It literally cannot be true. Update yourself, guys. It's Tuesday at 1:00. I'm leaving this website. But the point is, Rashid Shahed is a big splash play. I like him if you want splash plays, but he's not going to be a thing going forward for me. But for you, he might be if you need that wide receiver 3. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Before we get on to our worth of looks, let's answer this question. Hey guys, would you guys trade away Ramondre for J.K. Dobbins and Worthy in full PPR?
Man, J.K. Dobbins seems to be the guy right now, and I think he's going to be the guy moving forward since we've already dumped Gus Edwards after week 1. He's becoming a non-factor. Worthy is the question mark there. It seems like they're pretty settled in with Rashid Rice. Seems like he is the primary target there. Worthy is a great splash player. He can make plays. Ramondre is the entire offense. The entire offense for the Patriots. This right here for me, if I'm accepting the trade or declining the trade, I'm going to lean towards the Ramondre side. He's just been more consistent. He's just been more overall his entire career. Whereas J.K. Dobbins, we've seen him be awesome and then get hurt and he's gone forever. I don't want to see that for J.K. I want to see a healthy career. I want to see a great 1,500-yard season for J.K. this year. I love J.K. I just don't want to put my eggs in that basket right now. I feel more comfortable with Ramondre Stevenson, especially being the main primary person in that offense.
Agreed.
But I wouldn't hate it if you took JK. I wouldn't hate it at all. Demarcus Robinson, he is our worth a look because they don't have anyone else. We just told you Cooper Kupp's going on IR. We just told you Puka is already on IR. Demarcus Robinson is rostered in 28% of leagues. Scored 7 points last week, but we expect that to go up because, like I said, they don't have anyone else. Is it going to be a Demarcus Robinson show, or do you think they're going to spread the ball around to everyone?
Everybody seems to be high on Jordan Whittington, the rookie there. And Tyler Johnson, we've talked about, I think last week we talked about him after he scored 12.9. Somebody has to catch the ball, right?
I hate that. I hate when people say, well, someone's got to catch the ball. Because if someone's got to catch the ball, then no one's going to catch the ball. As in, we don't know.
It's going to be Kyron Williams. And I'll be honest, these guys are worth a look. I think all three of them are worth a look, but it's not somebody that I'm going to break the bank to be a starter. I'm not going to go out of my way to make sure that he is my starter moving forward to replace Cooper Kupp, but he is somebody that I will add so that he can be on my bench for when he starts producing.
If you get Brian Robinson, by the way, this is a callback to that question we answered earlier. If you get Brian Robinson and J.K. Dobbins, super smash. If you get Brian, he says Brian
Robinson and Worthy.
Oh, and Worthy?
Not okay. J.K. and Worthy.
Yes, I would take that. I like Brian Robinson moving forward over both J.K. Dobbins and Ramondre Stevenson. I prefer that. Do you agree? Or do you prefer Ramondre?
I would prefer... Brian Robinson's doing well. The only thing that sucks about Brian Robinson is that Austin Eckler is still getting work.
Well, Brian Robinson's a man. He fights.
Austin Eckler is still getting work.
But anywhere you go in the NFL, Braylon Allen over the Jets.
Not the Patriots.
Not yet.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'd rather have Ramondre Stevenson because there's literally no one else on the Patriots.
Man, this is news. Like, call CNN, guys. Justin just blew my mind thinking he's a Ramondre fan. After all these years, I finally convinced him Ramondre Stevenson's a good football player. Back on DeMarcus
Actually,
Robinson.
after I just said that, sell him immediately for what you can get out of him because he will tank immediately.
In all seriousness, HD in the chat, I do prefer Brian Robinson over all three of those running backs. That's why I would take Brian Robinson. I think he's got the most the keys to success over there with Jaden Daniels in that offense and how they run the football. I think it's awesome over there. So DeMarcus Robinson, like we said, worth a look if you need wide receiver help, if you roster Cooper Kupp or any of these guys that are hurt. Another guy worth a look, Braylon Allen. I'm kind of on this bandwagon. If you're in any of my leagues, you've seen me made these moves. On Sunday, before the game start, I drop a guy who played Thursday, and I add Braylon Allen every single week to every team I possibly can. Because I think if Breece goes down, not when, because I want Breece to stay healthy. If Breece goes down, Braylon Allen is clearly the guy. He's always clearly been the guy, and he showed himself out when he scored 2 touchdowns and balled out. We're not putting him on this list because he balled out. He was always going to be on this list because, again, just like Jordan Mason, if you roster CMC, you must roster Jordan Mason. If you roster Breece Hall, you must roster Braylon Allen. He's rostered in 9% of your leagues. Unfortunately, he scored 2 touchdowns. When I say unfortunately, because now you're going to pay up for him. Now you're going to have to pay up at least $5 to $10 on Fab, where you could have got him for free Sunday before the games. But if you roster Breece, go get Braylon Allen because he's explosive and he can get the job done.
Agreed.
There you go. Who's this guy?
Johnnu
Johnnu Smith is back on our list.
Smith.
A callback from 2023. Johnnu Smith is back on the waiver wire ads, rostered in 5% of leagues. I don't know if I can endorse this without Tua, but we're going to do it anyway because
can't quit Johnnu.
We just can't. We just don't want to quit Johnnu Smith.
Quit him.
Johnnu Smith is going to be a premier target with Skylar Thompson. Again, I don't really endorse this because they don't have Tua anymore, and I don't know when we're going to get Tua back.
We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, they just signed Tyler Huntley, so maybe, and we know the Ravens and how they use their offense, and they throw to the tight end position. I could see Johnnu Smith being effective throughout the year. Tight end 6 last week with 11.3. Again, we are talking about a tight end position that is the weakest it has ever been in fantasy. And which is crazy because we went into the season saying this is the strongest the tight end position has ever been. And now we're seeing tight end 6 scoring 11 points. What is this?
Johnnu Smith had 7 targets last week, caught 6 of them. Let's see what happens whenever the backup quarterback comes in. We do like to use this trend or this thing that we always say, the best friend to a backup quarterback or a rookie quarterback is a tight end. Let's see if that's true. I'm going to say they're going to lean more towards Tyreek and get him the ball on short passes, little crossers, get him wide open, get him in space because Tyreek Hill is, at the moment, your best football player. Always has been. But now he can't go deep anymore. Hopefully he can because I'm more worried about Tyreek in this situation. But if you have an Evan Ingram and he can't play and you want a cheap $0 tight end, go grab Johnnu Smith because nobody is going to go put a claim in him. Maybe put a buck just in case. But Johnnu Smith is a definitely professional football player that can get the job done. He's not going to get you 20. He's not going to get you 15. He might get you 10, and 10 sometimes is better than Dalton Kincaid or Sam Laporta. So I'll leave it at that. Or Travis Kelce. Combined. Literally all of them combined. Johnnu Smith is better than. Unfortunately. Khalil Shakir, Buffalo. He scored the points, and Keon Coleman did not score the points last week.
Shocker.
I don't know, because the week before, Keon Coleman was the guy getting targeted. I don't know if the situation is going to bounce back and forth. I don't know who's going to find the groove. I don't know who's going to be eating waffles with Josh Allen in the morning. That's what I need to know. And last week, it seemed like it was Khalil Shakir. He's rostered in 54% of leagues. He's going to give you a solid 10-point baseline in PPR leagues. I don't mind that. If he sneaks into the end zone, that's even better. I love Khalil Shakir. Josh Allen has to throw it to somebody. He was targeted often. What's so funny? No,
you just said that about DeMarcus Robinson.
But the problem is DeMarcus Robinson's like 50 years old. And Khalil Shakir, 50 years old. And Shakir is still in his, 24. Not even in his prime yet. Great route runner, something that Josh Allen needs. Whereas I don't know if DeMarcus Robinson still has it.
Khalil also has scored 10 points and 13 points this season so far in his 2 games. He's 23.8 total points this year so far between the 2 weeks. Coleman was in 91% of the snaps last week and got 1 single target and 0 receptions. I don't think Josh Allen is just going to force feed Coleman with that kind of target share. And Khalil was only in for 69% of the snaps last week, 5 targets, 5 receptions. That is efficiency. He's doing what he needs to with what he's got. He didn't even have a touchdown last week, and he still scored double-digit fantasy points.
Anyway, Carson Steel, Kansas City, we assume, starting running back moving forward with the Isaiah Pacheco news. You still got some J.P. Ryan there. But when the game was on the line against the Bengals, Carson Steele's name was called. He's rostered in 4% of leagues. He didn't do much with the ball last week, but we assume he's going to get a workload. Not sure if it's going to be split, but hey, split with one of the best offenses in the league, with one of the best quarterbacks in the league, is better than nothing. So Carson Steele's definitely worth a look. I don't know how much he's going to go in anyone's leagues. It's hard for me to say that because if you don't need a running back, you don't need him, right? But if you need a running back and you need some help, if you lost Isaiah Pacheco, I get it. You might spend $20, $25 on this guy. I don't recommend that, but I do recommend you at least putting something on him because he's kind of unknown. And we don't know if he's going to pop off or not, or be the next guy. CEH isn't there. Pacheco's not there. We're just rolling with P. Ryan and Carson Steel.
I submit a waiver claim for $51 on Carson Steel today. I have 0 running back. DeAndre Swift is my RB1. And I'm going to try to take advantage of Isaiah Pacheco missing time and Carson Steel be able to use this opportunity to do something. It was reported that Kareem Hunt went to the Chiefs yesterday to work out, or they're going to host him. But I mean, it's Tuesday. They play Sunday. So what's the chances of Kareem Hunt taking all the workload by Sunday if he is signed? Samaje Perine has always been there and always just been blah. So I'm going to assume Carson Steel is going to take these snaps this week. 7 attempts after Pacheco got hurt, playing down in that game, 24 yards. So hopefully that does something for him.
Yes. The next guy on our list, the last worth a look, late addition, by the way, Wan'Dale Robinson. The Wan'Dale Robinson is a guy who is interesting, but it's hard to be confident in a guy where he shares a roster slot with a guy who gets 64% target share. Malik Neighbors is the entire offense. But that being said, Wan'Dale Robinson, he only got 4 targets last week. He only had 2 catches, but he did score a touchdown, scoring you 9.8 points. The week before, he had 12 targets. So I don't know how Daniel Jones wants to distribute the ball, but it looks like Wan'Dale Robinson is a clear number 2. I understand it's very ugly, and I understand all offseason we told you, stay away from this entire offense. And I'm here to say, I'm still saying it. And I heard a lot of victory laps going on by Dirtbag Dave and other people. So, I thought Malik Neighbors was going to be bad. Guys, if you go on our Twitter page, I said bold predictions. Malik Neighbors was going to be a wide receiver 8 or better this week. And it happened because they played Washington, the same team who gave up 4 touchdowns to Baker Mayfield. I'm not saying Baker's bad, but I'm saying that's a bad secondary. So we saw Malik Neighbors go off. We saw limited work with Wan'Dale Robinson. I think that's going to balance out as the teams get a little bit harder because they're going to be forced to throw it to Wan'Dale. Whereas I don't think Washington even knew Malik Neighbors' number. I don't think they understood who he was on the field. I think he was a ghost to them. I don't understand what happened. I do like Wan'Dale Robinson as a super, super, super deep flex. If you have 4 flexes or 3 flexes, he's the guy I like to add because he's going to be involved. He's clearly the number 2 for New York.
I think he's worth a look, which is where we have him to just add to your roster. If he's out there, take him.
Yep.
I don't think I would start him this week specifically. They're going up against Cleveland. But I think he's definitely somebody to add to your roster because down the stretch, you're eventually going to play Seattle, Cincinnati, Phil. I mean, he does have a tough schedule. That's the hard part. So that's where I'm a little weary about, but he's worth looking at.
Before we do get to our worth of stash, just want to remind you, we are on OUSFFpod.com or on the YouTube page and on Finstock Sports Network. If you're new here, if you're just now tuning in, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It helps the show. We've been growing massively since the beginning of the season. So join the club, get involved. We are never wrong. Literally never. Kind of. Sometimes.
When we are, there are reasons why we are wrong,
And reasons why, reasons is because reasons.
Injuries.
Raphael
Had a
Courtwright, I'm
tough
sorry.
week.
He had a tough week, so he says Kyle Pitts sucks. Yeah, I know he sucks. Should have started Gesicki. Cooper Kupp injury hurt my score. I understand that hurt a lot of people's score. Back-to-back L's, both losses under 3 points. That is a positive. I understand that you lost 2 weeks in a row, but at least you were losing by only 3 points. It does suck that Kyle Pitts stinks. Listen, you should have started Mike Gesicki because that gritty is the best in the game. I love Gesicki, by the way. He should be on this list. I think he's going to get a lot of play this week.
Gesicki was on our list last week, wasn't he?
He's not on their list this week. He's on our list this week.
People should have picked him up then.
Let's get into Worth a Stash. All right, we'll keep this one short and simple. We have 3 guys on Worth a Stash. The first guy is Justin Fields. I think he's beyond Worth a Stash at this point because he is a starter. So I understand why we put him there because we didn't know who was going to start.
Pre-show, we did not know that until about
That's why
30 seconds before.
Know that as well. We already had this sheet made, then we got the news. So Justin Fields is starting again. Rostered in only 12% of leagues, which is bananas. He's just an athlete. When he's on the field, he can score fantasy points. I like Justin Fields when he plays fantasy football. I don't like when he's playing real football. You're a big Justin Fields guy. So are you starting him this week over 11 other guys? Is he a top 12?
Here's the thing. I mean, he's not inside of the top 24. He's just inside top 20. He's 23 right now. He's had 2 11-point weeks. He's got 1 touchdown on the season, 1 passing touchdown, not even a rushing touchdown. So he's getting production in the rushing game. He's getting passes. He's actually accurate for all things considered. 17 for 23, 13 for 20. He's just not getting a lot of yards. That Steelers offense is going to figure it out. I've been saying for a while, Russell Wilson has been QB1 all off season and was QB1 until literally the day of the week 1. So Justin Fields hasn't had snaps. He hasn't had this time to build chemistry with George Pickens and others. He'll figure it out. I don't think I'm going to start him this week. I will start him in week 4, no matter what, though.
He'll figure it out is the name of his biography. Just want to say that Alex Pierce, however you want to say his name,
Alec
he is
Pierce.
Worth a Stash for some reason. Just because I don't know why Michael Pittman's not getting involved, but Alex Pierce sure is, or Alec Pierce. Sorry, that's my fault. Alec Pierce is rostered in 14% of leagues, 16.6 points last week. It just seems like he always makes a play when they need to make a play. Richardson clearly trusts him to break coverage, get separation, and make the play. So I don't mind this Worth a Stash at all because if it becomes something like a trend, then I can see it happening. Again, that's why he's Worth a Stash. You don't want to pick him up and start him right away, but you do want to pick him up if you're holding on to these guys who are doing nothing. Like, no offense, Raphael, but you should not be holding on to Zach Ertz at this point. Move on. Maybe pick up an Alec Pierce instead of holding on to someone old bustle like a Zach Ertz.
Here's the context with Alec Pierce. He is wide receiver 8 this year. He's actually above Rashid Shahed, who's wide receiver 9 so far in the first 2 weeks. He's just behind Jameson Williams. Like, these are 3 names that we did not anticipate being in the top 10 of wide receivers. Guys that are above him, Cooper Kupp is going to miss time. We've got Chris Godwin, Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors, Jaden Reed, Justin Jefferson. Out of the top 10, only one of those guys on this entire list we expected to be in the top 10, and that's Justin Jefferson at 6. So now, with that being said, Josh Downs is going to come back. Josh Downs is a go down the field and catch the ball kind of guy. Targets are going to go to Josh Downs. Michael Pittman's got to find something. Also, at this point, do not start Michael Pittman. Just don't start Michael Pittman yet.
Can you say upside limited for me?
Do not start Michael Pittman this week.
Can you just say upside limited for Michael Pittman for me?
We are at the same point with Travis Kelce as we are with Michael Pittman. Do not start him until he proves that he can be started again. But Alec Pierce is wide receiver 1 in Indianapolis right now.
Man, I wish I had my sunglasses close because I'd be Michael Pittman, Mr. Limited.
Michael
Like
Schoonmaker, tight end for the Dallas Cowboys, is rostered in 2% of leagues. He finished tight end 7 just behind our boy Johnnu Smith with 10.3 points. This is a guy that you can virtually get for free, and currently he's playing for Jake Ferguson. They played against the Saints. They did nothing against the Saints, but Schoonmaker did with 6 passes for 43 yards last week. So if you're streaming tight ends, this is probably somebody that you might look at this week.
Exactly. And people in the chat that have questions about tight ends, you're holding on to this Gesicki, you're holding on to Ertz just because of bye weeks. Guys, we don't want to worry about bye weeks or any of that stuff until it actually happens. What you're doing is you're limiting your resources. You want as much dart throws as possibly you can. And Luke Schoonmaker is one of those right now, as in they like to target the tight end. We knew this with Dalton Schultz. We knew this with Jason Witten. We knew this with Jake Ferguson. We knew this with all these guys. That's what Dallas does. They've always incorporated their tight end. This should be no difference with Luke Schoonmaker. He's going to get, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Mr. Schoonmaker, but I will say this. He's going to get involved. He's going to be there. He's someone I would target over someone like a Zach Ertz or Gesicki, in my opinion. Am I going to start him over Kelsey this week? Find out Friday, because I might.
Travis Kelce versus Luke, however you say your last name. We need Wingate. Wingate, how do you pronounce his last name? I know you're in there somewhere.
And again, I know that you're in a 14-team league, Raphael, and this is for the chat, not for the podcast, but I understand that. It's just the upside of Zach Ertz is just not there anymore. And if you're just looking for 10 points out of your tight end, that's fine. Like, that's perfectly fine. But if you want a game breaker, a league winner, or a guy who's a week winner, I'd rather have it from an offense like a Luke Schoonmaker or a guy we didn't even talk about, and not on this list, Hunter Henry, as he is another option with that Patriots. Derek, I'm sorry.
Right. Schoonmaker.
Schoonmaker.
I had it right.
Remember that, guys.
I have to. I've been pronouncing a Bengals wide receiver wrong forever now. I thought it was Andre Iosivas. It's Yoshivas. I learned that this weekend. So
I don't even try.
You don't.
There's no point.
You don't care about people. So
wow. Let's go on to keep stashing. Is there another guy?
Swift.
Okay, we don't have a no. Derek. DeAndre Swift, keep stashing because he's good at football, and it's just Caleb Williams is limiting this offense at the moment. He's rostered in 93% of leagues. I know it hurts. I understand it hurts. I feel your pain. But at the end of the day, do you really think that Khalil Herbert's going to take over or Roshan Johnson's going to take over? We saw DeAndre Swift start out slow with the Eagles at first, and then he caught on. DeAndre Swift's not a barn burner. He's not someone who's going to win you a league, but he's a good running back too. And you got to keep sticking with him, at least for now. Just put him on your bench if you have a better option. If you picked up a Jordan Mason, or you're going to go pick up one of these running backs that we spoke about earlier today. But again, just don't drop DeAndre Swift because I believe in this offense, and I believe they'll figure it out.
DeAndre Swift started the Eagles, his Eagles career with 1 attempt for 3 yards and got 1.3 points. He had 2 targets also. 1.3. Then he scored 27, and then he had double digits all the way until week 9, and he pretty much was fantasy relevant until the fantasy playoffs. But he's gonna get it figured out. And guess what? That entire Bears offense has got to figure it out. And what better week to do it than in week 3 against the Indianapolis Colts, who literally lets anybody just absolutely destroy them. The Colts defense has allowed 474 rushing yards in the first 2 weeks of the season, which is last place in the NFL. I expect DeAndre Swift to have a big week. And in fact, if this was Wednesday night and we had to pick DeAndre Swift or literally any other running back in his range, I'm starting DeAndre Swift without hesitation. He's who I drafted as RB1 in 0 running back leagues.
Ooh, okay. All right. Let's go into check back next week. We only have 2 this week. One I think you can cut, but we'll just hold them for now. This is the guy. Actually, both these guys I think you can cut. But let's just hold off a little bit because you spent some draft capital on. First guy is Caleb Williams, quarterback, Chicago Bears, since we're following up on the Chicago Bear theme here. Caleb Williams just seems lost out there. I know a lot of people, Viking Dave, is such a hater, and he's like, oh, we won't be. He brought up the preseason quote of, oh, we won't be punting much. It seems like when you say that stuff in the preseason or the offseason or before you even play a real NFL game, Justin Fields, this game seems slow to me. Don't say that stuff because it's going to come back. That's 2 Bears quarterbacks in a row where Justin Fields is like, oh, this game seems super slow to me. And then Caleb Williams is like, oh, we won't be punting much. Well, it looks like you are. Unfortunately, I don't know if you can read. I don't know. I'm not an NFL quarterback, but he looks lost out there. He looks like he doesn't know where to go. And it doesn't help that his biggest, I guess, safety net is Keenan Allen. He's out with a heel injury, did not play week 2. Week 1, he did get injured, so he was kind of hampered there. I'm not going to blame it all because he doesn't have his weapons. Because guess what? Jaden Daniels is out there with Terry McLaurin, bum ass, and other players. So he's getting the job done, or at least looking electric. Caleb Williams just looks like a lost puppy and doesn't know where to go. And it sucks because we're all rooting for him. At least I am. I know Justin is. I am, because I believe in the talent. I would put him on your bench. I wouldn't start him until I see a good game or at least a good matchup or until he at least looks competent, because right now he does not. He just looks like the game's too fast for him. It looks like he's playing on all Madden. He should be playing on all pro right now. So that's my analysis on Caleb Williams. He has the talent.
Yeah.
He has the skills. It's just not there yet.
His offensive line is pretty garbage, as Josh Wingate said. The thing is, he's playing hero ball. He's playing a lot of, I can make whatever play I want work because I'm the Heisman. I came from the Pac-12. Like, exactly. He came from the Pac-12. He did not play against defenses. He didn't play against NFL defenses. And if you go back into any of our episodes talking about rookie quarterbacks coming into the draft, I talked about this a lot. Jaden Daniels played SEC defenses. He played NFL ready defenses, whereas Caleb Williams played high school defenses. Like these are not this. They did not have the same experience in college. I said back then, Jaden Daniels should be 101 in the NFL draft, fantasy drafts, everything. Nope, we went Caleb Williams that way out. We just saw yesterday. We didn't even talk about it at the start of the show that Bryce Young was benched. 18 games into his career, 19 games into his career already. I'm not saying that this is going to be the same thing for Caleb Williams, but Bryce Young was supposed to be the best quarterback in that draft, and he clearly was not. So is Jaden Daniels the CJ Stroud of last year's draft?
Hey, I'm not going to say that because Jaden Daniels is a one-read quarterback and then run. And there's nothing wrong with that right now at this point of his career, because if you watch Washington's any of their snaps, it's I'm going to look at this receiver. Oh, he's covered. I'm running. Again, that's producing.
Or dump it off to Austin Eckler.
Okay, or dump it off, but most likely he's running. And that's good for fantasy, whereas Caleb isn't doing that right now. He's just
– I was going to say, Lamar Jackson has made a fantasy career out of that. Like, we don't –
But Lamar's also had plenty of games where he's thrown it deep to Isaiah Likely and making Zay Flowers relevant and Hollywood Brown relevant. Whereas
he's had 2 games.
I'm not, but hey, Lamar's first game, he went deep to Hollywood Brown on the very first play against the Miami Dolphins. Or maybe that was Hollywood Brown's first play. Either way, all I'm saying is Lamar Jackson, let's not compare the two because they're 2 totally different athletes and 2 totally different people on 2 totally different teams. And we're talking about Caleb Williams here.
Yeah. Either way, check back next week. I would not say drop him this week because Malik Willis made the Colts look like he is an all-pro. So maybe consider keeping Caleb Williams this week, see how he does. But I would also temper my expectations if he does score 25 points this week.
Yeah. But I'm not starting him. Another guy, Terry McLaurin. I don't know why he's even rostered or drafted at this point. He's one of the worst football players I've ever seen play football. I kid. I know he's a professional athlete and he'll probably kick my ass. But I will say this, Terry McLaurin has been such an underwhelming receiver for the past 3 years now. I've been trying to sell this guy in Dynasty for 3 years and nobody will buy him for a second. People know, and people are still drafting him. And now you have a quarterback in Jaden Daniels who is a one-read guy and will take off and run. It's not going to benefit Terry McLaurin or anyone else on that offense. I'm not starting Terry McLaurin in any format, period. I'd much rather take a shot on Alec Pierce because at least he's getting targets. At least he's getting explosive plays. Terry McLaurin, he might get tech back in next for you, but I guarantee you next week he's going to be on the drop list. We're going to have a funeral for Terry McLaurin. Promise you, guarantee it.
He's gotten better this week, last week against the Giants, but again, he played the Giants. He's now got to go against the Bengals, so that's going to be tougher. Who would have thought all the Ohio State wide receivers outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. would suck?
Marvin Harrison was good for the first quarter, I heard.
Chris Olave, Terry
because
McLaurin,
Rashid Shahed is so much better.
Garrett Wilson, they all suck right now. So
yeah, well, it has a lot to do with quarterback play at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, let's have ourselves a funeral, guys. I'm getting warmed up for this one.
Oh God, I gotta find the music. Where's it at? Where's it at? There it is.
And now, a moment of silence.
This isn't my funeral. I'm not going to be the guy performing the eulogy because we're having two funerals.
And
we're burying
now,
this man
a
twice.
Moment of silence.
We're burying this man twice.
It's on repeat.
In a 32-man IDP Dynasty League, I gave up a first-round pick for Tajay Spears last week. And people questioned it. And I said, because he's the better running back over Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard was hot last year, coming off week 1, 2, and 3. Remember that? Tony Pollard was freaking hot. He was like, oh, I told you guys, we don't need Zeke. He's so good. And then Tony Pollard sucked. I'm not saying it's going to happen again. And we've seen Tajay Spears flash before. We just haven't seen it this season. And he got hurt. He left the game injured. So I think this is unfair. So, sir, give me a reason why he's your must drop or funeral, or you're burying this man twice. I don't think any other player has had it played twice.
That's because it was on repeat. He's at you. People drafted Tajay Spears to be their starting running back this year because we expected Pollard to be Tony Pollard. Well, apparently Tony Pollard actually decided to play like he was when he was with Zeke. Tony's got 18 and 15 in 2 weeks, and only taking 60% of the snap shares. Tajay is taking the other percentages, but he only has 10 attempts in the first 2 weeks of the season. That Titans offense is garbage, and they're going to play a lot from behind because of their quarterback play, because of the offensive scheme. I don't know what is going on. We heard Calvin Ridley is going to be the greatest thing ever. DeAndre Hopkins is back. Tyler Boyd is good. Yeah, Ridley was good. Yeah, but who else was good on that offense other than Tony Pollard? It wasn't Tajay Spears.
He was hurt.
It wasn't Will Levis. So
Tajay Spears got hurt. He left the game in like the second quarter.
I'm ready to drop him. He's done. Right. Tony Pollard is RB1. We talked about Gus. You can drop Gus Edwards because J.K. Dobbins is there. Tony Pollard is the guy in Tennessee. Hey, I'm dropping Tajay.
Let this be known.
Unless you're in Dynasty. Don't drop him in Dynasty.
Obviously. But I'm going to follow my friend Justin to the grave because that's what we do. We're ride or die here. But I'm going to say if he does pop back up, if he pulls an Undertaker, don't be surprised. I'm just letting you guys know that. If he pulls,
$20 in fab, there you go. But I don't feel comfortable rostering Tajay anymore.
All right, that's fine. We got one more question in the chat before we do sign off. Cap for Life, longtime listener. Thank you so much. He's number 13th in the waiver. Switch to fab. But he needs one. He needs one. Steel, Jennings, Foreman, or go Seattle defense.
Steel.
He's going Steel just for the opportunity, and I can't argue with him there. Foreman was getting the ball, but he's just
Jennings, though. Jennings is interesting because of the Debo injury, because you don't have the upside of CMC catching the ball. There are a lot of factors in there. So gut reaction was to just immediately say Steel. Jennings had 11.4 in the first week, 5.7 last week, though. And he had more snap percentages. So
here's the thing, man. I'll be honest with you, Cap. You're 13th in waivers. You're not getting Steel.
No.
You're not. He's going to be playing.
Jennings.
Yeah, you're not. So here's what I would do. If it's a rolling waivers, as in you keep your position, it doesn't roll weekly. As in, let's say you don't use your waiver wire and you go up the board. I pick up nobody. And I go up the board and I secure like a top 5 waiver priority position. That's if your league does that. Now, if it's a running where you just do standings per that week, sure, go ahead. But if you can move up, I wouldn't spend it on it because 13th is too low. You're not going to get anybody because there's 12 other people in the league that are ahead of you. I mean, there ain't no way you're getting these guys. So I would just leave it be. Don't pick up anybody and check in Be a psychopath like me. Set your alarm for 3 o'clock in the morning if you're East Coast and see if there's any free agents available and get those people added to your roster before people wake up. That's what I do. Because I'm a psychopath. And I've always been one.
We know.
What's an Undertaker? Your mom would know, Josh. All right. Thank you so much for watching our Tuesday.
And now, a moment of silence.
I have to give Josh Wingate that moment of silence there because, good God, that.
If you don't know what The Undertaker is, make sure you follow us on the Finstock Sports Network. We have 2 professional wrestling podcasts, Real Talk Wrestling on Thursday night. I host it. And, of course, Saturday night with Bobby, the boss of the network, Finstock Sports Network. No holds barred. So if you don't know your wrestling knowledge, come check us out over there. But if you're more into fantasy, I understand that's why you're here. We're here Tuesdays at noon. Today was 12:30. Just a little bit of a mix up there. And of course, Wednesday nights we do our starts and sits, our people that we're going to debate on. If you roster this player, we tell you who to start. That's our Wednesday night, 8 p.m. And then Friday we're here to cover every single game. That is a jam-packed show. We tell you who you should not start, who you should start for every single game. And if you follow my betting advice, I want to know this year on live betting advice on this show. Oops. I told y'all Chicago would cover 6.5. They did, baby. We're in the green this season. I will have another bet for you Friday. That's my new gimmick going forward because coming from Vegas, I realize I'm a professional gambler. That's what I do, baby. Justin, do you want to go ahead and give out the plugs? Because I'm running out of breath.
Yeah, OUSF POD everywhere you find on social media. OUSFFPOD.com. Everywhere. Just follow us everywhere. Subscribe, like, share. If you like the show, tell a friend. If you didn't like the show, well, sorry about it.
I got 2 words for you.
Leave a comment below. Just say we love you or something like that. I don't know.
If you don't like listening to the show, you don't like the show, I got 2 words for you. Keep listening because we will grow on you. We're like fungus.
Yeah.
We will literally people don't like me at first. Surprising. Shocking. But I'm still here.
I didn't like Josh either to start. He grew on me. I'm still here. Like 3 times a week with him. So
Is it the gritty? Catch us next week, guys. Oh, I didn't do the music. Sorry, you guys got another 30 seconds with me. And Justin is just infuriated right now, but it's okay. I do want to give a special shout out to Sean, to Derek, the guys in the back, Jacob as well. They do help the show move forward, and they're the main reason why the show is growing.
Literally feeding us news during the show. Like they're not even in the studio. They're literally just texting us news.
Sean, Derek, Jacob, even Viking Dave in the background. I love you guys so much. I much appreciate that you joined the team. Justin, again, thank you so much for joining the team because this should be nothing without you guys. For more news, make sure you follow OUSFF Pod on X. We were the first ones who broke the Evan Ingram news, by the way. The first. Turn those notifications on. No excuses. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.